यदा संहरते चायं कूर्मोऽङ्गानीव शर्वशः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता.
Tasya prajna pratishtita. One is established in wisdom when one restrains one's sense organs from their sense objects, like the tortoise which pulls back its limbs from all sides. The tortoise, incidentally, is one of the 10 avatars, Kurmaha. Here he uses the example of the tortoise to communicate, to answer the question, Kim Prabhasheta, how does he speak? Meaning, how does a person who has reached the state of infinity transact with the finite? So, the tortoise represents a realized soul. What does the tortoise have? The tortoise has 6 appendages and there is a shell covering it. So the 6 appendages represent the 5 senses and the mind. And the shell represents the intellect. The sun above, the shell is exposed to the sun above. The sun represents Atman. So, a tortoise is one whose shell is exposed to the sun, but its limbs are in contact with the earth. A person of realization is one whose intellect is fixed in the truth, in Atman, while the mind and senses interact with the world. So, a person of perfection transacts with the world. At sense level, he enjoys the senses, but there is no neutralization. Neutralization means when you indiscriminately indulge in a particular sense enjoyment, every successive contact with that particular object gives less and less enjoyment until you reach a stage where the contact no longer gives you enjoyment. But you need to continue the contact because if you are denied it, it gives extreme displeasure. So it is the affluent who get into this state. Those who are not well off, because of the fact that they can't afford, they're automatically restricting their senses. It's not that they're using their intellect, but the situation helps them not to reach the state of neutralization. But the more affluent you are, in affluent countries, affluent classes among us here, they have already reached that state of neutralization, which means they have everything, but no enjoyment. But they have to put in enormous effort to maintain their standard of living, because if they're denied it, it gives displeasure. So here is a person who enjoys the senses thoroughly, completely, 100%, no neutralization. He acts, there is no desire prompting him to activity and no attachment to the fruit. So therefore that action becomes perfect. He feels, is not emotional, is not overcome with emotions. The intellect is in place. He thinks, but is not prejudiced. So, here is a person who's reached the 4th plane of consciousness, but is able to enjoy the world thoroughly, whereas we are not able to enjoy. So there are 2 points that he's communicating here. See, the tortoise is a creature that moves around slowly but surely and is in contact with the world. But the moment the tortoise senses danger, what happens? It withdraws its limbs under the protection of the shell, and that shell is so hard that whatever you do to the shell, the tortoise is protected. So, a man of perfection, a person who has reached a high degree of spiritual development, is one who moves about freely in the world, contacts the senses, has relationships, has everything that you and I have. But the moment the person senses danger of getting victimized, quickly withdraws under the safe protection of the intellect. See, look at us. We all have one or two weaknesses. So what we must do is not be afraid of the world, not be afraid of contacting the senses. Most people, under the guise of spiritual activity or that they are religious, they don't even contact sense objects. So, if you join an ashram or join a spiritual organization, immediately they say, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, that and the other. It's not that. You can contact the world freely. But make sure that in the area of your weakness, one person has a weakness for food, another person has a weakness for shopping, third person has, weakness for alcohol, so on and so forth. Wherever you have a weakness and the object comes in front of you, withdraw your mind and senses under the protection of the intellect, then you're safe. But in the area of your weakness, if you continue to go, then you get victimized by it. So it's a very practical verse here. All that it's saying is, enjoy the world freely. But in weak areas, watch out. Withdraw means make sure that your intellect is in place.